Make sure this is recording. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Queuing Up Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Damian Rocha Jr., and today we're going to be getting into more Magic the Gathering talk. This one is going to be specifically about a card that recently came out in the newest set of Magic the Gathering. I think it was April 24th it came out. It is called Secrets of Strixhaven. Now, there was a lot of leaks, like there usually is, and there's cards that are revealed early, stuff like that. But when this card was physically leaked before Magic came out, like WotC came out and was like, hey, we're going to show you this card. When I saw this card leaked, like my excitement for this card went skyrocketing. I have not been this excited for a card since Modern Horizons. I think it was that was in 2024, I think. Might be wrong. Hopefully I put the text or what year it actually came out here. But when Modern Horizons 3 came out, Ajani got his own card. And if you don't know anything about me, Ajani is my favorite character within Magic the Gathering. He's usually a Planeswalker, but this was the first time we saw his card. And he is a Boros card. Red-white. I know he's red-white, but I forgot his cost. But essentially, he flips into a Planeswalker, yada yada. We're not here for him, so I'm not going to show you any pictures of him or anything. I might be nice. But was excited for him. I built him, and so far I'm not having the best time with him because I feel like I just need to rebuild him, and I'll give him one more shot. I'll rebuild him, and if he's not fun, I'll just keep the card of Ajani in a binder somewhere until he gets further, support cards. So moving right along to the card that caught my eye and the one that I'm talking about that as soon as I read its abilities, it got me thinking and got all the gears turning, and there's so many possibilities to me about how to make this deck. So, card in question is going to be Mica, Reader of Ruins. Now, I'll be putting all the cards I talk about right here. Any of the audio listeners, I will be describing the card as much as I can, so you just got to bear with me. So, Mica, Reader of Ruins, is a 4-drop creature, costs 3 generic and 1 red. The legendary creature, Human Artificer, with 4 power and 4 toughness. It has 2 abilities, Ward, pay 3. Now, what Ward is if you target this creature with a spell or an ability, so if any of your opponents, if any of your opponents target Mica with a spell or an ability of something they control, they have to pay the additional Ward cost, whether it's 1 more mana, discarding a card, sacrificing creature. In this case, Ward is pay 3 life. You have to pay 3 life in addition to, like, target him with anything that you own if you're the opponent of the person playing Mica. So, second ability is whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, you may sacrifice an artifact. If you do, copy that spell and you may choose new targets for the copy. Now, this is what got my brain just churning. I'm looking this way when the camera's right here. Now, this is what got my brain churning. This is what got like all the like different ideas just going off in my head like fireworks on the 4th of July, right? So, 2 things. 1, the first part, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, you may sacrifice an artifact. Red has so many things that like deal with artifacts, but on top of that, they have, in my opinion, the best way to make treasure tokens. Red has treasure tokens galore, which if you don't know what it is, it's an artifact token. It is something that you create that you tap for mana and sacrifice it, and you can get any mana of 1 color. So if you just make a bunch of treasures with like red, which is super simple to do. I keep looking that way when I should look here. You can easily, every time you cast an instant or sorcery spell, you can just sacrifice one of the treasures and then copy whatever you're using. On top of that, there's a lot of spells in here that do copy, that do damage to each opponent, that just overall do so many good things. And you can build him so many different ways, but there's like 3 that I want to talk about specifically that I think would do really well with him. But before we move on to that part of what like different build you should have or could have with him, I should say, here are about a couple key cards that I think you should have with every build that you have with him specifically. And the reason I say this is because every one of these cards, I truly believe, is going to benefit no matter what version of him you build. Just add all 4 of these to everyone in the deck's going to work even better than what you think it's going to. And like I said, I say that because once you hear the first one, you're going to be like, oh, okay. So moving along with the first one, it's going to be Stormkiln Artist. This is a 4-drop red creature. It is going to be 3 generic, 1 red. It's a dwarf shaman with power toughness 2/2. Now, it's going to have 2 abilities. First one being this creature gets +1/+0 for each artifact you control. Essentially, you're going to have a lot of artifacts, so you're going to make a lot of treasures, or you're going to have a lot of artifacts in general because you're doing an artifact-based deck. So you're going to have +1 power, and its toughness is not going to change, but it's going to have more power for each control. Its second ability is what we're actually here for. It's probably one of the best red cards to be ever printed ever. It is Magecraft. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, create a treasure token. Now, listen to it again. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, create a treasure token. Red has so many spells that say copy target instant or sorcery spell, copy artifact, copy this. It's just every time. So if you have 2 spells, heck, if you even have 1 spell that says copy target instant or sorcery, and you have at least 1 treasure on the battlefield, Mica's going to copy it because you. So let's say you do a copy target instant or sorcery spell, sacrifice a treasure. Mica's going to copy it. Boom, now you got 2. You have that first one that's targeting something your opponent has or anything on the field, like any spell that's being cast. And you have the second one that got copied. You're going to use the second one, copy the third one. It's going to make another copy. It's going to keep copying infinitely, right? Stormking Artist sees all of that happening, and you can easily go infinite with the mana, or like infinite with those spells, which each time you cast and copy it, it's making a treasure token. So you have unlimited treasure tokens right there for further spells to copy even times, right? That's why I said no matter which one you put that in, whatever build you have it in, you're going to be copying. You're going to be casting instant sorcery spells because you want to trigger that secondary ability. Stormking Artist is going to give you a treasure back for each cast and or copy, right? Amazing, amazing red card. Moving right along, we're going to be going into Unexpected Windfall. This is a 4 drop instant. It's going to be 2 generic red. As an additional cost to cast this spell, discard a card. Draw 2 cards and create 2 treasure tokens. Now, reason I think this one goes into any deck is because for 4 mana, you get 2 cards and 2 treasure. So essentially, you're getting 1 thing per mana. You're drawing a card for each mana, and you're making a treasure for the last 2 mana. Not each mana, but for the first 2 mana, you draw a card. The last 2 mana, you're getting 2 treasure tokens. And with Unexpected Windfall and Mica on the field with at least 1 artifact. So if you have 3 cards in hand, right? Cast Unexpected Windfall, discard 1 card, because that's the additional cost to cast the spell. You then trigger Mica. He sees you casting Unexpected Windfall. You then, boom, sacrifice an artifact. Discard your 3rd card in your hand. So now you're down to 0 cards. But the copy of Unexpected Windfall triggers. You get 2 cards, 2 treasure tokens. Second one goes off. 2 more cards, 2 more treasure tokens. So for 4 mana, you end up with 4 cards, which is 1 more than what you started with, and 4 treasure tokens, which is 4 more than what you started with. It's such a good payoff. For 4 mana, you get 4 cards and 4 treasure tokens as long as you have an artifact on the field and 3 cards in hand. Even if you only had 1 in hand, it's still a good card because you get 2 other cards. You get to, if you have 2 cards in hand, you play Unexpected Windfall. You don't sacrifice anything, so you're not going to copy it. You discard the other card as a additional cost. So now you're down to 0. You draw 2 new cards, make 2 tokens. Still good. You're just replenishing your hand, and you get 2 treasures off of it. It's such a good card. It's such a good card. This one, it can go into every deck in every color that you can ever imagine. Everyone knows it. Everyone loves it. It is Sad Robot Solemn Simulacrum. It is a 4 generic, I guess a 4-cost creature that costs 4 generic. So any 4 mana, any color, or just colorless mana goes into it. It is a golem with power and toughness 2/2 with 2 abilities. When this creature enters, you may search your library for a basic land card. Put that card onto the battlefield, then shuffle. When the creature dies, you may draw a card. The reason I say this goes good in any version of this deck is 1, he's an artifact creature, which means if you cast an instant or sorcery, you sacrifice Solemn Simulacrum to get another copy, or get a copy of the spell or sorcery that you're casting. On top of that, because you sacrificed him, he is dying, which triggers his second ability to draw a card. So any version of Mica that you build, Solemn Simulacrum has to be in it because 1, you get an additional land off of it tapped. Sure, it's tapped, but you get an additional land for next. Or if you are down a land, you can get caught up and boom, now you're caught up. Or just get more land in general. Last but not least, the sacrificing him, drawing an extra card, Unexpected Windfall. Copy it. Guess what? You get the 4 mana. Now this is if you had the 3 cards in hand, obviously. You get the 4 mana, or the 4 new cards, the 4 treasure. And now you get an additional card. So now you end up with 2 more cards in your hand than what you started with. and 4 treasures. It's such a good card. It's something that's so simple. Like I said, goes into every deck because every deck can use an additional land. Super good. It's probably the best artifact, in my opinion. In my opinion, it probably is the best. Obviously, if you were going to say, oh, what about Soul Ring? What about Mana Vault? What about this? I understand. They give you a lot of colorless mana. There's things like Lotus Petal that you sacrifice it gives you like mana, right? 3 additional mana. But a lot of these cards are getting banned because they're really strong and they're really like, they speed the games up really fast. Here's the thing. Solemn Simulacrum is not going to go away anytime soon. All it does is give you 1 land and draw a card when it dies. That's it. Super good. Can you abuse it in certain ways? Of course, but it costs mana to do that. And all the mana it does, or that it brings in, comes in tapped. Super simple. Last but not least is this card is a lot like Solemn Simulacrum and Unexpected Windfall. It's like all 4 of these cards. It goes into any red deck. I honestly believe these go into any red deck. This last one is one that if you haven't heard of it, you should. I truly believe it is a red staple. It is called Runaway Steamkin. It is a 2-drop creature, 1 generic, 1 red, elemental, power toughness, 1/1. Whenever you cast a red spell, Runaway Steamkin, if Runaway Steamkin has fewer than 3 1/1 counters on it, put a 1/1 counter on it. Or Runaway Steamkin, remove 3 1/1 counters on Runaway Steamkin. Add red, red, red. You heard that correctly. If you cast a red spell, you put a 1/1 on that creature. If it has less than 3 1/1 counters on it, then when it reaches 3 1/1 counters, you have the ability to remove all 3 1/1 counters. Then you could add red, red, red. Because you can only, like, this only triggers 3 times. So if you play 3 spells on your turn, it's only going to trigger up to 3 times. Then you could take them all away, play more spells, right? Because it does read if it has fewer than 3. So once you hit 3, it does not add more counters. Then you also have to remove the 1/1 counters in response to something, or you have to do it in a way to where you don't slow yourself down. It's kind of hard for me to explain, but like you have to remove the counters to add the mana, but the spells have to resolve in order to get more 1/1 counters on it. So with all that, it's super simple to play these 1/1 counters. Now, to clear this up right away before we move on to the first like type of deck you should build, he does not trigger off of copies. So if you read Mica specifically, it says, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, you may sacrifice an artifact. If you do, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. It is copying the spell. It's almost like a mirror. It looks at it and goes, hey, we're the same, right? There are cards that specifically say, copy target instant or sorcery spell. You may cast the copy. And if I'm not mistaken, I do believe Runaway Steamkin does trigger off the ones that say you may cast, because the spell is a red spell being cast. It is not just replicating it. It's not just duplicating it. It's actually casting it. So there's only I think a couple of cards like that, but the biggest one is Mizzix's Mastery. I'll throw it up here. Essentially what it is I believe it's a sorcery card that you exile a target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard, then you copy it, and then you may cast the copy, and then it has an overload cost of I believe, where you copy you exile each instant and sorcery in your graveyard, and then you can cast each one of them without paying its mana cost. That one would trigger Runaway Steamkin because it says you may cast instead of you just do it, right? So, with all that being said, those 4 cards are awesome includes. They're in every red deck that I can imagine you would build with Mica, or just any red deck in general, because they're really good. You get mana off of them, mana in a card off of them, cards and mana off of them again, or just more mana off of them for playing the game. It's insane. But moving right along to the first way to build them, in my opinion, which I think I kind of did a little bit of splash of all of these. Well, I'll say the first 2. But first one I thought of immediately, right off rip when I first saw this, my brain went to combat tricks, right? For some of you don't know what combat tricks are. Combat tricks are when you buff up your creature to do more damage or give them like keywords, or you do things to like lower the strength and toughness of other creatures, or you just straight up murder a creature, which that is a card, murder. You basically do things during the combat steps of attacking, blocking, and to get more damage off, remove stuff, trigger, stuff like that. So the first card, and now all of these are going to be categorized as similar things. These aren't cards that you need in the deck. These are just cards that fit the like certain genre or the topic of the cards themselves. I'll explain it when I get to the first card here. So the first card is Unleash Fury. It's a 2-drop instant, costs 1 generic, 1 red. It says double the power of target creature until end of turn. Now, Mica on the field. Mica's a 4/4. if you play Unleash Fury, like it's now an 8/8, guess what? Sacrifice an artifact on cast. Still a 4/4, but the copy goes first. Boom, he's an 8/8. Now the second one, the first spell you cast goes on the stack or gets resolved. Now he's a 16/16. So if you can somehow talk your opponent into letting you attack them unblocked, they're like, sure, I'll take 4 damage. Cool. You now take 16. So if you have cards like this that, like, oh, instant speed, double his power. Oh, instant speed, he does double damage to the person he's hitting for just the end till the end of turn, is insane to me. Like, it's so cool to just buff his power up to the point where it's just straight up doubling it. It's not even giving him like a +1, +1, +2, +2, whatever. It's just straight doubling his power. It can get out of hand really bad, especially if you have triggers that whenever you cast an instant or story spell, you can draw cards, add more power to him, make more treasures, stuff like that. Like, it's just, there's so many things that will trigger off this one spell, and then you do so much damage in one swing. Now, right along, next one is Brute Strength. This one is 1 generic red instant. 2-drop instant. Target creature gets +3 and +3/+1 and gains trample until end of turn. Now, this one is very specific because not only do you get a buff in your power, you get a keyword. See, as the first one, it specifically manipulates power and toughness in a way that is just straight doubling it. It doesn't add a number, it just doubles it or does double damage. Like if you have spells that like, oh, this creature does double damage down the turn, stuff like that, that's what you want, right? You want just straight multiplication. Whereas this one is addition. This one is going to be +3/+3, trample. So you get buffed and you get a keyword. Copy it, you now get +6/+2. Now he's a what? 10/6. And he has trample. So even if they block, the trample will go through. So you can obviously get rid of 1 to 2 creatures, and you still go through for commander damage. Very good card. These ones I like, the ones that add keywords and the ones that buff your creature. Now moving along to the last card. These ones are just straight buff spells. There's no other keywords. It's just buffing the power and toughness in some way, shape, or form. A great example is a card called Antagonize. It is a 2-drop instant, 1 generic, 1 red. It says target creature gets +4/+3 until end of turn. Once again, the 4/4. Add 4 to it, or you attempt to add 4 to it. You copy the spell. You add 8 to it. Now, you add 8 to its power, 6 to its toughness. It is now a 12/10, hitting so much. And it's such a... these cards easily can be so good while you creatures and stuff like that. And if you think about it, everything I said is really good, sounds really cool. You can do a lot of damage in one swing, right? Now take everything I said and apply that to your opponent's creatures. You might be thinking, Damien, why would I want to buff up my opponent's creature? Why would I want to go and give them double power, double damage, trample? Why would I want to go and give them +4/+4, +6/6, +8/8, plus whatever, manipulate or multiply this, whatever? Think about it like this. Keep looking that way, I should look that way. Think about it like this. Let's say one of your opponents is attacking another one of your opponents. So let's say opponent A, B, and C, right? Opponent A attacks opponent C. They have a little plan where they're like, hey, can I hit you for 4 so I can draw a card? And opponent C goes, yeah, you can hit me for 4. Cool. They shake hands, whatever. He swings unblocked. You can then say, okay, in response, before damage is like dealt, I'm going to tap my mana. I'm going to play Unleash Fury on your 4/4. I have an artifact. I'm going to copy it. Now, we're going to deal double to his power. So it's going to go 4 to 8, 8 to 16. Top of that, I'm going to play Brute Strength. I'm going to copy it. Going to get 6 more added on to 16. 22 damage. You lose more than half your health in one turn because I did something, right? And now this can cause a lot of instances of who actually hurt you, right? Because yeah, I buffed him up, but he's the one who swung at you. Now he has an additional card because you said yes. So you're getting mad at me that you said, yeah, you can have an additional card, where in a game like this, the more cards you have, the more responses you have, right? So it's going to cause a lot of discourse. It's going to cause a lot of conversation. And if that's not the route you want to go, where you just do it surprisingly, you can always politic in this game. You can be like, hey, how much damage do you need to get? Well, opponent C says, in order to take out opponent B, I need 6 more damage. Cool. I can give you 6 more damage and trample but you cannot touch my board. You cannot remove my board in any way, shape, or form. Or you have to help me draw another card, or you have to get rid of something on someone else's board. I keep looking at the wrong thing. Camera's over here. I should really move my camera there, I think, maybe. But it causes a lot of politics because you have so much power in your hand to take away so much health from your opponents, and you don't even have to swing. You just sit there and watch everything hit the fan, right? You watch this guy take 16, this guy take 15, and you're just like, all I did was cast instances the whole time. My creatures have just sat here. That's it. Nothing else. That's all. But that's going to kind of wrap up the first way to build him. But I personally think that the combat tricks would probably work, in my opinion, somewhat the best. Not saying the other two won't, but in my opinion, because if you don't know me, I like hitting people as hard as I can in Magic with as much power on one creature or multiple. It's usually one creature hitting for a lot. I really like the big Voltron guy, like, hey, I'm a 42, 19, blah, blah, blah. But like I said, the combat tricks, a lot of people thought of them probably as on your turn. My creatures do that. I thought of them both ways. Turn, and your creatures on your turn. Yeah, I can help you double his power. Yeah, I can help you do this. But you have to tell me do this. You have to tell me do like this version of this deck can be so beneficial on your turn and not on your turn. You can do so much stuff on combat each time, like each turn. So basically, you get 4 turns. It's my turn. Cool, I'm going to do this. Your turn, I'm going to buff that up. Your turn, I'm going to buff it up. Your turn, I'm going to buff it up. Now, guess what? You guys hit each other for 14. I only hit you for 2. Like, it's such a cool concept. It's such a cool deck to build it like that, to the point where it's such politicking. It's such politicking with that. But moving right along to version number 2, we're going to have Spellslinger. Now, if you don't know what Spellslinger is basically you play a bunch of instants and sorceries to do a bunch of stuff. Essentially what it is. And whenever you cast instant or sorcery, you're going to like lose health or draw a card, discard a card, stuff like that. Every time you cast something, like a spell or instant or sorcery, something triggers on your field. So, cards that I want you to kind of look at. The first one is kind of like, I'd say mana makers or rituals is what a lot of people like calling them. What a ritual is something that you play to get more mana out of it. You play an instant, let's say like Dark Ritual. 1 black mana, you add 3 black mana. So for 1 mana, you're adding 2 additional mana to that turn because you obviously have to pay 1 for it, but you make up the 1 and add 2 additional to it, so you have 3 mana to play. So first one is Seething Song. It is a 3-drop instant, 2 generic, red, add 5 red. It's red, 5 red, 2 mana pool. Right? So you can play other things off that. Mica on the field, sacrifice an artifact. You now have 10 red. So you're getting 7 additional red on top of the 3 that you had to tap or make to get the 5 red, and then add additional 5 red to it. And in a mono red deck, everything costs red or generic and red, so you can use any mana for the generic and pay red for it. Very good. Any spell that adds mana, like at an instant or sorcery speed, is better than something where you have to climb it up like a Runaway Steamkin. But Runaway Steamkin is still really good because it just goes good in anything that you play because it's just you cast a red thing. But Seething Song is very good, like I said, because you add 10 mana if you have the artifact on the field to play other spells, and you can really storm off with this, which means you just continue to keep playing spells, you keep doing things, keep exiling cards, drawing cards, stuff like that. Moving right along, I have these cards I like to call, because I brought this up earlier, I like to call them mirror cards, which essentially you're like mirroring, is that how you say it? Mirroring? Anyways, you are looking at the spell with another spell to do the same thing. So think of it as a reflection. So let's say Reiterate, which is a 3-drop instant spell, 1 red. It also has an ability called Buyback 3, which in addition to playing it, like casting it, you can pay 3 generic mana to bring it back to your hand. So you copy it, or you cast it, Mica trigger, boom, I'm going to copy it. There's 2 of them. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. I'm going to bring the actual card to my hand. Still going to go off. Then the second one, the copy, is going to go first because of a stack. So think of it as first spell you cast, copy. Copy will go first, then brought this back to your hand, but the effect is still there. So then you can then copy target instant or source spell. New targets for the copy. Like I said, anything that copies spells is insane, both in Spellslinger and just in Red in general. If you cast anything that makes treasure tokens and you play Reiterate, you can make twice as much because you copy it, and then 3 times as much with Mica on the field. If you play a spell that says make 5 treasure tokens, play Reiterate, now you're making 10. Well, if Mica's on the field, you trash one of those tokens before all those were made. Now you have 5, 10, now you have 15. You have 15 treasure tokens, 3 red mana, plus whatever you're making with the tokens. Still, you're getting it. You see what I'm saying? You get a lot of stuff out of the copy spell, mirror effects, mirror things. It's just copy any instant or sorcery. So, like, imagine Reiterate with Unleash Fury. You play Unleash Fury. You play Reiterate. Well, now you sacrifice an artifact, copy Reiterate. Reiterate, target the Unleash Fury. Right? This will go off. Unleash Fury. Now you have 3 instances of Unleash Fury. So if you have your 4/4 Mica, go from 4, 8, 16, 32. And if he's your commander and he's unblocked, you just KO'd somebody. It's so gross. They work with all of these, actually. They work with every type of deck that you're going to build around with these 3. It's so good. They're probably the best cards to have in any of them because they just do everything. But specifically, I put them in Spellslinger because they're going to copy your instances of sorceries and trigger a lot more of your permanents that care about when you trigger instances and sorceries. Last but not least, in this specific type of deck, the Spellslinger type, you're going to want pingers. What a pinger is something that deals damage to you without attacking you. That's how I look at it. It does non-combat damage. For example, Gutter Snipe. It is a 3-drop creature, 2 generic, 1 red, Goblin Shaman. It is a 2/2. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, this creature deals 2 damage to each opponent. Now, this says when you cast, not when you copy, when you cast. Every time you just mana, cast a card, it's immediately going to trigger and go on the stack, deal 2 damage, then your card will resolve. It's good. There's a lot of cards that do this. If you cast an instant or sorcery, you can ping someone for 1, for 2, or you can tap a creature to do it, and then you can untap them when you cast an instant or sorcery spell. There's a lot of pingers in this to the point where it's like if you have just 3 of them, and each one of them does 2, for each spell you cast, you're doing 6 damage by just playing the card. Even if the card doesn't deal damage, just by casting it, you do 6 damage with the different permanents that do 2 damage, right? It's such a good card. It's so good in Spellslinger. It's so good at just casting instant sorceries, especially if you're storming off and you keep playing instant sorcery. You can easily KO somebody, especially if you add in like damage doublers, damage triplers. Like that damage manipulation that I talked about earlier is so good in Red. It's so good in Red. But last but not least is going to be the one that I looked into and I'm still looking into and might make a version of him with this one. I kind of toyed around with it, but then ended up doing kind of a mixture of combat tricks and a Spellslinger deck. But this one specifically is going to be a token generator of sorts, right? And everyone knows tokens. You got 1/1 citizens, 1/1 warriors. I think it's 2/1 rats is one. You got 2/1 zombies, 2/2. You just got a bunch of creatures that. So this one is not just creature tokens. Treasures are treasure tokens. So I say that because this next one is called Hell to Pay. It is any amount that you want to pay. Technically, it is a 1-drop, but it has X in the amount, which means you can put any amount of mana into X. It does something for the amount that you put in. So for example, its cost is X red. Sorcery. Hell to Pay deals X damage to target creature. Create a number of tapped treasure tokens equal to the amount of X damage dealt to that creature this way. Long story short, you put in 4 mana, deal 4 damage to a creature, and let's say it's a 1/1. You deal 3 excess damage to it. You're going to make 3 treasure tokens. Guess what? Mica's on the field. Rid of a artifact. Now, you can do 3 damage to 2 creatures and make me even more treasure tokens, right? It's a removal spell that might get kind of costy, like cost-wise, like costy is the word, or expensive. But obviously, the more you put in, if you copy it, and if there's another creature on the field, you're going to get more treasures back from it. You're going to get twice the amount of treasures back from it, depending on what you're hitting, right? Because any spell that you copy is going to just give you double the benefit, usually. Actually, 100% of the time, it will. And Hell to Pay is one that's really good because not only does it make tokens, and specifically artifact tokens that are treasure tokens that if you don't use, they untap those to get even more mana without tapping your lands or other artifacts. But moving right along, we are going to do something that is literally just creature token is what you're looking for, and a majority of them are going to be your goblins. Some of them are going to be like elementals, depending on, but it's literally any sorcery or instant that just says create blank amount of tokens. This one is Song of, I believe it is it Totentans? It is another X spell that is X red. It's a sorcery. Create X 1/1 rat creature tokens with this creature can't block. Creatures you control gain haste until the end of turn. So if you put 10 into X, you're making 10 1/1 rat creature tokens. Copy it, you now have 20 of them. All creatures you control gain haste until the end of turn, which is really good because haste means you can attack the same turn that the creatures appear or enter the battlefield. Anything that creates creature tokens, you're going to make twice as many creature tokens as long as you have an artifact on the field. So your board can get out of hand so fast. And if you have a lot of cards that depend on creatures or like creatures entering the battlefield, this will be really good. Just tokens in general. Any token you make, whether it's treasure tokens or creature tokens, you're doubling them every time. It's just going to be so beneficial for you to do that, to make twice as many tokens, because then you have a bunch of chump blockers. Or if they have trample, you still have chump block. You just make the rats or the goblins or the zombies deal with the big guys, and then your actual creatures that you cast from your deck can do more damage and do more stuff, right? It's such a cool deck. Like I said, this within last 30 minutes, I've already talked about 2 different ways to play it. I've talked about 4 cards you want to put in every deck, and I've talked about 6 other cards. So altogether, 10 cards that give you kind of an idea of how to build them, what to look for. And through those 6 cards or 9 cards, whatever it was, 6 cards, there's 4 that you just put in every version. They're just that good. And like I said, the token generation is going to be disgusting. It's going to be so gross, and I'm so excited for it. But last but not least, kind of plays into tokens that I was talking about earlier. These ones are going to be, instead of pinging for instants and sorceries, these are going to be your creature pingers. This is whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control. So whenever you cast something or make tokens and they hit the battlefield without getting countered, they're going to do, your other permanents are going to deal damage depending on how much they want, because some of them say 1, some of them say 2. I think there's only one that says 3, but there's like specification for it. But this one's probably the best one. It's called Perforos, God of the Forge. It is a 4-drop, 3 generic, red, legendary enchantment creature god, 6 power, 5 toughness, indestructible. Basically means it can't die unless you exile it, or you give it -1 counters to the point where it is, I think it's -5, -5, 1/1 counters, then it'll go away. As long as your devotion, 2 red, is less than 5, which means when you look at when you looked at all the other magic cards that you saw, they have these little symbols that are red, green, white, blue. So for every red symbol that you have, that counts as devotion. As long as your devotion is less than 5, Perforos isn't a creature. And that's usually not what we really care about. We don't really care about the first one. It is the second ability he has. Whenever another creature you control enters the battlefield, deal 2 damage, or Perforos deals 2 damage to each opponent. So for every creature, so if you made those 21/1 rats with Perforos on the field, he is going to trigger and do 20 damage. Or no, he's going to do 40 damage to everyone and just KO everyone. Because it's for whenever a creature. So for each creature that hits the battlefield, you have 20 instances of that. So it's going to be the first one, everyone takes 2. Second one, everyone takes 2. Third one, everyone takes 2. You're just going to go until everyone just dies. 20. It's going to be 40 damage. And lastly, he does have another ability, which is 2 generic, red. Creatures you control get +1, +0 until end of turn. That one isn't really, because sure, you're going to make all those 1/1s into 2/1s, but like, it's not really going to matter too much if you're just pinging them for damage by just creatures entering the battlefield. There is a creature that actually doubles his own power for each creature that enters the battlefield, and I think he's a 1/2. So with, 40 times, I think it is? Yeah, because it's 20, and then you double it. Hold on. Let's see here. So if you double his power, get a calculator. 1 times 2, right? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, 17, 18, 26, 27, 30, 31, 35, 36. That's if 40 things enter. Yeah, so if 40 things enter, he's like at 1 million, billion. He's at 1 trillion power. So if I half that, 500 billion his power. Something cool. It's just a lot. He's just a big dude. He's going to do a lot of damage. He's going to do a lot of fun stuff. Like I said, creatures and creature tokens, because it doesn't say specifically non-creature tokens. It just says whenever another creature you control enters. You make a bunch of tokens with him on the field or any other creature that deals damage when a creature enters the battlefield. You're doing so much damage off of one spell. It is insane the value you get off this creature. I have yet to see anyone play with him. I have yet to see anyone talk about him. So I will be the Mica guy. I will be the guy who said Mica is slept on. Mica is good as his commander by himself. And I am here to spread the awareness and the love for Mica, Reader of Ruins, because he is such a good card. I cannot stress enough how cool it is, because you have built in like protection in it. You have to pay 3 more life. So if you get, let's say, all your opponents are down to 3 life, one of them has to target him. Guess what? If they pay that 3 life and to target him, as soon as their life hits 0, they're out of the game. Even if they have, let's say, oh, they target him for 3 life. Now they have 7 life. That's cool. I have enough treasure to go bang, deal 6 damage or deal 7 damage to each opponent. All of you lose in 1 turn. It's so cool. He has so many 1-turn kills, not turn 1 kills, but turn, like just turn kills. Like he has so many just 1-turn kills. All I need is 1 turn to kill everybody. I don't need turn 1 kill. No, I just need 1 turn to kill everyone. So like another cool thing that I thought of was a card called Chandra's Ignition, which I believe is 5. It's 3 generic red. Target creature deals damage. Each creature and each opponent equal to its power. So if you doubled Mica's power to what did I say? 16, and you do 16 to each opponent and each creature, and you're easily at this point in the game, if you're on turn 5, you can easily be around 3 health. You're taking more than half their health in 1 turn, all at the same time. That's not even including the damage doublers, damage triplers, the things that if you're doing less damage than the amount of power to one of them, because one of them is called like O'Hare Octaniel or whatever. It's the red one that whenever a source you control deals non-combat damage to a permanent or player and it's less than his power, you deal more. So for example, if you play Shock is 1 drop, 2 power, right? Or 2 damage. That red guy will see that and go, hey, my power is 4, so we're actually going to deal 4 damage. It's just like the amount of damage manipulation, the amount of token generation, the amount of card draw, treasure making, the amount of pinging for spells being casted, the amount of pinging for creatures being just entering the field. Like there's so many ways to build him. You can make him all one thing. You can make him 2 things, 3 things. You can mix and match everything every way you like. You can get a 2 for 5 with him. Get a 5 for 5 with him. You can treat him like Wendy's. You can treat him like Little Caesars. You can treat him like any fast food restaurant you have. You can grab all these things at a discounted price. Get a BOGO deal. Buy one, get one. It's so good. It's such a good card. It's so fun to talk about because, like I said, my love for this card is insane. Because this will be my 3rd mono red deck, and I think this would probably be the 2nd best mono red deck I have. Because the first mono red deck I ever built, I did not know was really good at CEDH. It is not a CEDH deck, but it goes off pretty fast. It is Magda. It's all about treasure gen. Crazy. Sacrifice 5 treasures. Look for a dragon and artifact. Put it right onto the battlefield. Do crazy stuff with it. Make a bunch of treasures. Get all your stuff out. Boom. You're pinging everything. And I forgot about this. I'm going to talk about this now. Another thing. There are spells that copy creatures you control or other creatures that your opponents control. You can get 2 copies of crazy-ass creatures for the price of whatever it costs to cast it and sacrificing an artifact. It's insane. It's so stupid. He's so good. I should have talked about clones. I'll talk about clones now. He is such a good everything that it just blows my mind that he's not talked about and I haven't seen anything about him at all. I am the only person I have seen talk about this card or have seen with this card at all. And I'm like, dude, everyone, like, what are we doing? This card is so good. This card is so cool. Like, it's insane the amount of stuff just do. And this is before you make him expensive. Like for $50, you can just put a bunch of red cards in and he'd still work. As long as you have artifacts or any generation of artifacts, he still works. Like you can just do anything with him, and he's such a good versatile commander. He's so cool. As you can tell, I am so excited to build him. I am definitely making a podcast episode of when I get him and I play him to give you guys updates, if not just a normal short version YouTube video about 10 minutes. But yeah, he is hands down one of the coolest commanders and like most intriguing commanders that I have seen in a very long time. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of good commanders out there, even awesome. All those cool ones did not get my attention until Secrets of Strixhaven. Everyone's talking about I think it's the 5 dragons. Yeah, there's 5 of them. Talking about the 5 dragons from Strixhaven. Don't get me wrong. They're wicked. They're wild. They do so much absurd stuff, and I'd love to make a deck out of all of them, if not just include them into one deck. However, Mica caught my attention, and I'm like, yes. Mono red, artifacts, and treasure tokens, which are artifacts. Those 3 things go together like ice cream, cake, and soda or pop, depending on where you're from. It's so good. It's the amount of value, the amount of just everything about him is so cool. But don't want to go on for too long. I've already been here for about 3 minutes. Don't want to keep you longer than that. But yes, as I finish up here, all I'm going to say is that I'm going to love this deck no matter how good or bad it is after I buy the cards, regret not putting other cards into it, because that's the beauty of deck building. But all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, so much for listening, depending on where you see. But you can catch me on YouTube. These will be on YouTube, I believe, the Friday following the Tuesday that it was released. So if this comes out on Tuesday on your Apple, whatever, on Apple or whatever you listen to for podcast, that following Friday, it will be uploaded to YouTube, because I want the people who actually are dedicated to the Spotify hear it first, and then if they want to watch it, they can watch it. Boom, go to Friday. Now you can just watch the video, have it in the background while you listen to it, because you don't have Spotify, listen to the podcast, you just listen to music. That's fine. As long as you just hear me any way, shape, or form, you don't even have to really hear me. You can just put me on mute, play me in the background. I'll still get attention regardless. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. As always, I'll catch you guys in the lobby the next time you decide to queue up.